A very good evening. Welcome for the 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark, and Dorothy Namunyomba is on sign language. And without further ado, let's give you the news of what happened today. In our first story, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Kataha Museveni, has urged student leaders across the country to embrace servant leadership founded on integrity, humility, and patriotism. Mrs. Museveni was speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the 36th Uganda National Students Association, that is UNSA, the acronym. 15-member National Executive Committee led by Sheila Ainembabazi, and the handover ceremony by the outgoing 35th National Executive Committee led by Wilson Mugazu.
I, Amanya Kennedy, swear that I shall discharge my duties as the Secretary for Finance of Uganda National Students Association at the national level to the best of my ability, uphold the UNSA Constitution and Code of Conduct as per the law established without fear or favor. So help me God.
The ceremony held at State House Nakasero was themed Renewed Student Leadership for Peace, Integrity and Values. It was attended by high-ranking government officials. The First Lady congratulated the newly elected UNSA leadership and commended the outgoing executive for their services.
I congratulate the new leadership and thank the outgoing leadership for answering the call to lead. Leadership is not an end in itself. Leadership is service. Selfless service that is marked with humility, selflessness, and resilience.
Drawing lessons from biblical leaders, including Abraham, Moses, Joseph, David, and Esther, Mrs. Museveni explained that God prepares leaders through a process often marked with difficulty to remove pride, greed, selfish ambition, and other pitfalls, and to shape their character and capacity to bear responsibility.
Our president himself started out as a student leader and evolved into a freedom fighter. Like the biblical characters I have just mentioned, God took him through a process. 5 years in the bush with no assurance of ever coming back to his family or his homeland. But that was the process he had to embrace. This did not come on a silver plate. It came through sacrifice.
Reflecting on past challenges within UNSA, the First Lady acknowledged that the association had previously faced governance difficulties that nearly led to its suspension. She credited leadership training at Chankwanzi and sustained prayer for the association's current stability and progress.
Desist from selfish ambition, from greed, from immorality, from disloyalty, from pride, because leadership comes from God, not through human effort. And God looks at the heart. But I also took time to pray for UNSA specifically, and for all students, university students especially. I have had reports that UNSA now has settled.
To the new leadership in UNSA, as you assume office, you do so at a time when strong, value-driven leadership is essential in advancing education, fostering unity, and promoting national development. I commend the outgoing leadership of UNSA for their dedication and service, and I congratulate the incoming team upon whom great trust and responsibility has been bestowed.
I, Ainembabazi Sheila, swear that I shall discharge my duties as the President of Uganda National Students Association at national level to the best of my ability, uphold the UNSA Constitution and Code of Conduct as per the law established without fear or favor. So help me God.
Reporting for UBC, Baguma William.
Congratulations to that new UNSA body of governance. Now, Vice President Major retired Jessica Alupo has reiterated that government's dedication to restocking livestock for families in the Teso and Lango and Acholi sub-regions is taking effect really soon. Each family is set to receive 5 cows, compensating for the livestock lost during previous conflicts and cattle rustling. This announcement was made during the Priestly Silver Jubilee celebration of Reverend Father Dr. Robert Amoni Ochen at Olianai Village, Wera Sub-County in Amuria District on Saturday, January 31st, 2026. Prior to the general elections, the government allocated approximately 80 billion shillings for this initiative, ensuring that each beneficiary household can purchase 5 cows, building upon the first phase that faced numerous challenges. Alupo also emphasized that the commitment to restocking these livestock initially discussed before the elections will be honored, clarifying that funds are available and that the president will formally launch the initiative. The reassurance comes in light of concerns from those who felt the post-election silence on the matter raising doubts about its implementation. The Vice President reassured citizens that the elected government is focused on working collaboratively with all Ugandans, steering clear of division while pursuing development and poverty alleviation initiatives, including the cattle restocking plan and the parish development model.
This is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. We will rejoice, we will rejoice and be glad and be glad.
Assemblance, can you, sisters and brothers, please. Let's come.
In more news, the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Robina Nabanja, has hailed President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for recapitalizing Uganda Development Bank to facilitate socio-economic transformation. She was presiding over the passing out of the first cohort of Uganda Development Bank, UDB, employees who have been undergoing a one-week transformative and leadership development training at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi.
The Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, has passed out the first cohort of Uganda Development Bank UDB employees who have been undergoing a one-week transformative and leadership development training at the National Leadership Institute NALI in Chankwanzi. The Premier says that the training of the Uganda Development Bank employees is necessary to ensure that they are ideologically oriented. She appealed to civil servants to love their country as they deliver services to the people.
It has come at a time after government of Uganda has adopted the 10-fold growth strategy with the goal of growing the size of our economy from 61.3 billion US dollars to 500 billion US dollars by the year 2040.
Nabanja says that by recapitalizing Uganda Development Bank, the NRM government is availing cheap and affordable money for the private sector to invest and create jobs for Ugandans. Nabanja says that low interest rates for capital are a prerequisite to the country's socio-economic transformation agenda. She emphasized that UDB should provide an avenue to support the private sector to enable the country to achieve its vision.
When Uganda Development Bank was not being talked about, isn't it? And it was revamped because we need cheap money. We cannot depend on commercial banks. Our private sector
needs cheap money to do business. And so, the private sector needs patient capital with low interest rates, hence the creation or the revamping of UDB.
The Managing Director, Uganda Development Bank, Dr. Patricia Adong Ojangole, says that the training is purposely conducted to help the employees focus on serving the people.
For the vision and the support and providing an enabling environment that helps some of us to implement our mandate, and also to our shareholders, the Minister of Finance. And I'll use the opportunity to thank you in person for supporting the bank acquire the additional funding that the bank got last year. We will, with more funding, the bank can only grow and generate a lot more development outcome.
The Director, National Leadership Institute, NALI, Kano Okei Rukogota, thanked Uganda Development Bank for the initiative to train the employees to refocus on service delivery.
Rare to see such commitment that a whole institution of government brings all of its staff to come and be regenerated ideologically. And we look forward for continued interaction with you, because you can only get ideologically clear by continuously engaging in ideological discourses, even ideological struggles.
Sam Maitam, the participants' representative, expressed optimism that work will be executed with a patriotic lens.
Our desks with a strengthened resolve to be the servant leaders, pledging to manage the financial resources that have been committed to our stewardship with the integrity of a patriot and the precision of a soldier. We pledge that these lessons from the course will not sit idle in our notebooks, but they will reflect in our actions as leaders who are disciplined, convicted, accountable, and fiercely committed to delivering on our historical mission.
Uganda Development Bank has so far disbursed 2.45 trillion to 607 businesses engaged in commercial agriculture, agricultural value addition, manufacturing, tourism and hospitality, education, health services, creatives, and the construction industry. These investments have created 55,553 jobs. Premier Nabanja began the day's activities by planting a tree at Nali, gave a lecture of opportunity to the participants before inspecting General Salim Salih's building that's under construction.
Uganda ranks among the top 2 countries in the world, in contrast with Niger, with a youthful population estimated at 73% under the age of 30. However, the inclusion of this demographic in planning and decision-making, particularly in governance, remains low. Now, I had a chance to interview several budding youthful leaders to get their take on why it matters for young people to have a seat at the table. A section of youth is raising its voice, calling on government to include them more holistically in matters of national importance. They say that despite the creation of leadership positions for youth in the legislature and local governments, their ideas remain overshadowed. And there appears to be a threshold age at which one is deemed useful in shaping the country's direction.
If you can give an example of the Parliament of Uganda, so many youth topics and bills have been fronted on the floor of Parliament. But all you see, these are, all generations coming and debating and giving their views. You have never had the Honorable Speaker saying, let's hear from the MP representing Youth Central. Let us hear from such MP representing the youth to hear their views.
These young adults point to the low quality of education in Uganda, especially in rural areas, and the lack of clear mentorship structures from the current leadership as key contributors to graduate unemployment and other key sectors.
One time I was having a conversation with the executive director of UCC, and he was telling me in their times when they were still young, they had a lot of people that were mentoring them. That's why those days, like back then, 2000, 2004, a number of people that were taking up most of the spaces were young. They were in their 30s, early 30s, late 20s. But right now, the rate of mentorship has decreased. Why? Because someone will feel like if I mentor her, in the end, she'll come up and take up my seat.
Uganda's youth leadership spans 5 dedicated members of parliament and 9-member youth councils at every local level, forming a nationwide pipeline under the National Youth Council Act of 2024 as amended. However, these roles remain in the shadows and are highly politicized with limited tangible influence.
That's why I said we are just looked at as statistics, as numbers. We are just important in being mobilized for elections and voting for the senior members of this country.
Even when we participate in political parties or there are different structures that are just for the youth, so it does not reach the final decision-making bodies because of the barriers that we get along the way.
These young minds are calling on the youth under the age of 35 to equip themselves with vast amounts of data and knowledge about Uganda and other countries as they continue to challenge the status quo.
A useful youth is one that is informed. So one thing that the youth should do is to acquaint themselves with the knowledge that they need. If you are a youth in Uganda and you are barely concerned with what is happening in our country, you do not even know anything of the Constitution, you do not know your rights, you do not know your duties as a citizen, then how then would you demand for a place at the table? Or how then would you advocate for what is best and suit for the youths in our country? So first things first, we need youths that need to move away from a chilled vibe.
With just 74 years remaining until the year 2100, which is the beginning of the 22nd century, Uganda has the potential to leverage its young population to transform into a first world nation. However, this will require increased levels of nationalism, readjustment of some priorities, deliberate youth inclusion, and robust governance structures to realize this dream. Wadulo Arnold for UBC News. And in more news, the youth in Kabweri County and Kibuku district at large have been urged to embrace education, hard work and government wealth creation programs to improve their livelihoods and transform their communities. This call was made by the State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Barugahara, while officiating as the chief guest at the function organized by the Bagwere National Students Association in Kadama Town Council.
Minister Barugahara revealed that government has injected over 50 billion shillings into Kabweri County through the parish development model. He noted that the initiative is intended to uplift household incomes, hence encouraged the youth to take advantage of the funds and other government empowerment programs to achieve social and economic transformation.
For the last 3 years, Mzee has sent to your district, to this district, Chibuku. He has given Chibuku 15. Actually, not Chibuku, all of it. Only your constituents, Kabweri. He has given Kabweri 15 billion. Of the 15 billion, the youth of Kabweri are entitled to 30% of that. So that means the youth of Bugweri, you should have received minimum 4.5 billion. That can help young people who are coming to town to trade or to grow vegetables or to grow things that can return investment very fast.
Leaders of the Bagwere National Students Association said the function was organized to inspire learners from different institutions and address challenges affecting the youth, calling for support from the government and stakeholders. Minister Barugahara also cautioned youth against engaging in risky lifestyles that could destroy their future. He encouraged them to remain focused on education and engage in productive activities to improve their living standards.
kandi mukole na amani abakutunga sente za PDM mutazikozesa kubi mukazisweramu abakazi muzikozese kusubura okulima nokola enterprises zirabahereza sente.
The Kabweri County Member of Parliament-elect Dr. Patrick Wakida emphasized the importance of education, urging young people to remain committed to their studies if they are to achieve their goals and contribute to national development.
Ngotako evugo motoka nge ya minister musome. Temwaba kwisomero kwaba kwisomero. Mwaba kwisomero nga mwaba kusoma. Sense no tabairenge nyoe muri tuzuire gemzuire, but it's time mwege ntingo take kisa wefe kuchebamba comment. It's time to work. It's time to do what? To work.
The function was organized by youth leaders and it aimed at strengthening unity among the youth in Bugwere and promoting strategies for social and economic transformation.
So, Mchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app.
Starting with 100,000 shillings, you begin building real financial strength, because wealth doesn't just happen, you build it. And the ones who start early end up ahead. Every deposit, every month, every little increase. This is how your money grows into wealth. Put your money to work with the experts at SBG Securities. Partner with us today on your investment journey.
SBG Securities. Keep growing for you, for them, forever.
This is our home, our land, our Uganda. From the rolling hills to the busy streets, from the farmers in the fields to the students in classrooms, we are one people. Elections are a time to choose our leaders, not to fight our brothers and sisters. When violence enters the ballot box, the future of our country is wounded. But when peace leads the way, our nation grows stronger. On election day, choose unity over diversion, respect over hatred, and dialogue over distraction. Love your country, protect your fellow citizens, stand for peace, and say no to electoral violence. This message is brought to you by the Global Election Observation Mission, GEOM, in partnership with the Uganda Electoral Commission. Informed citizens, strong nation.
Unisteel Investment Uganda Limited, shaping the future of steel in East Africa and beyond. With an investment of over $100 million and a production capacity of 300,000 metric tons per annum, Unisteel is setting new standards in steel manufacturing. At our state-of-art facility, we produce TMX rebars, branded Unis TMX 500 CWR, and high-quality wire rods using only imported virgin steel billets. Every batch is tested and tracked for unmatched quality assurance. Our steel powers the region's most ambitious projects, from dams, skyscrapers, to bridges and beyond. Unisteel, superior quality, trustworthy choice.
Step into elegance, step into confidence, step into La Vie Boutique. Located at Grand Imperial Hotel, Shop 6 and 8, right behind Bank of Uganda, La Vie Boutique brings you high-class corporate and casual wear for men. From sharp designer suits and crisp shirts to stylish casual t-shirts, tracksuits, shoes and accessories, we've got everything to make you stand out. Call us on 0772 419 181 or 0705 555 558. La Vie Boutique, where class meets style.
So, Muchala,
Yes, Daddy.
you know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
Starting with 100,000 shillings, you begin building real financial strength, because wealth doesn't just happen. You build it. And the ones who start early end up ahead. Every deposit, every month, every little increase. This is how your money grows into wealth. Put your money to work with the experts at SBG Securities. Partner with us today on your investment journey.
SBG Securities. Keep growing for you, for them, forever.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Imelda Chalia Ingabi, the Principal Research Officer and National Planning Officer for Youth and Adult Programs at the Ministry of Gender, has urged young Ugandans to actively participate in government programs and initiatives by non-governmental organizations as a way of fighting poverty to improve their livelihoods. She made these remarks in Kampala during a research workshop led by Dr. Nansuzi Kasalina Muwanga, the Executive Director of the Julius Nyerere Leadership Center at Makerere University. We have a detailed report.
I want to thank all the stakeholders who are behind this research.
Dr. Nansuzi, who led the research across Africa under the African Cities Research Consortium, explained that findings from the study revealed why many young people do not actively participate in the development programs.
That research has focused on the youth, especially the youth in informal settlements. Many things have come up, but one of the major things was that there are opportunities, but many youth don't get to access those opportunities because they don't get the information. And part of the reason, sometimes it's political, sometimes it's social, that they are not allowed because they're female to participate, and which we should do more is to sensitize our youth that there is no job that is too small for you to do, as long as it's a job that you enjoy and is able to make you the kind of money that you would like.
Imelda Ingabi further encouraged young people to take advantage of all development initiatives provided by government and other partners in order to improve their socio-economic status.
The youth should be proactive. Wherever we are, we have rights but also responsibilities. So the youth should actively involve themselves in community affairs, get to use the information that they have, since we have identified that 90% information is accessed. Let the youth actually be interested in the development interventions that government and civil society organizations have put in place.
Some of the young participants said that the research gave them hope that their concerns would be addressed and that young people would be supported through inclusive development programs.
I call upon youth and other people out there not to despise work, though you are educated.
Meanwhile, young people, especially university students from institutions such as Makerere University, were encouraged to avoid focusing only on white-collar jobs and instead acquire practical and vocational skills to help reduce unemployment.
As I conclude,
This is our home, our land, our Uganda. From the rolling hills to the busy streets, from the farmers in the fields to the students in classrooms, we are one people. Elections are a time to choose our leaders, not to fight our brothers and sisters. When violence enters the ballot box, the future of our country is wounded. But when peace leads the way, our nation grows stronger. On election day, choose unity over diversion. respect over hatred, and dialogue over distraction. Love your country, protect your fellow citizens, stand for peace, and say no to electoral violence. This message is brought to you by the Global Election Observation Mission, GEOM, in partnership with the Uganda Electoral Commission. Informed citizens, strong nation.
UNISTEEL Investment Uganda Limited, shaping the future of steel in East Africa and beyond. With an investment of over $100 million and a production capacity of 300,000 metric tons per annum, UNISTEEL is setting new standards in steel manufacturing. At our state-of-art facility, we produce TMX rebars, branded Unis TMX 500 CWR, and high-quality wire rods using only imported virgin steel billets. Every batch is tested and tracked for unmatched quality assurance. Our steel powers the region's most ambitious projects, from dams, skyscrapers, to bridges and beyond. UNISTEEL, superior quality, trustworthy choice.
Well, you've been a lovely audience, and we have to thank you for being with us for the time that we have been with you. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark. Dorothy Namuyomba is on sign language. We also wish you a lovely night.